everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mic'd Up Podcast. I'm your host Del, and today we have here Natalie Grace, who is our Miss World Malaysia 2021 finalist. And today we're gonna actually end this year 2021 with a bang. So we have here Natalie. So Natalie, do introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Natalie Grace, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm 19 years old, and I'm a mental health advocate, and as what Del said, I'm one of the finalists for Miss World Malaysia 2021. And yeah, I'm so excited to meet you guys.
I'm very excited as well because I have followed, the Miss World Malaysia 2021 journey, and to have Natalie on our podcast itself is such an honor for us. So yes, how was actually your whole experience, with Miss World Malaysia?
Frankly, it was so unexpected because when I used to see pageantry growing up, it was like, wow, it looks so easy, looking at the beautiful girls on stage, how they talk, and it just looks so flawless and smooth. But being in it, it was actually, frankly, very hectic.
Yes.
But it was, filled with learning curves, and I experienced a lot. I even made a lot of connections. Overall, it was a very amazing journey for me.
Yes, yeah. So if you didn't know, Natalie was actually the finalist of Miss World Malaysia 2021 this year itself, and throughout her whole journey there has been many ups and downs, I'm sure. So maybe you can just share with us what were the good parts of it, what were the challenges that you faced.
I think one of the biggest challenge was being in a room with so much potential there. There's very talented girls, very beautiful girls, and girls with experiences. But I believe what it taught me was, perception, or it's not that important, but more of how you
Portray yourself.
Yeah, how you portray yourself, and also perspective.
Right.
Having perspective is so much important. Instead of being in a room with, potential people with high potential, instead of feeling threatened like, oh, they're better than me, why not take it from a perspective that, wow, I have so much more to learn.
Yes,
I have so much more to learn, and these people, could teach me a lot of things. And yeah, that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, and the biggest challenge is to have a right mindset going into pageantry. That I wish that I would go in the pageantry, to be honest, with a more growth mindset, because granted, it's my very first pageantry, and being so young, I was like eager, I gotta win.
Gotta win.
Yeah, but yeah, it was overall very good.
Okay, that's nice. Then actually, how did you even decide to join in the first place? Was there like a spark, or was there someone in who have won the pageantry before that really made you want to join, or is there any specific reason?
So I've always been keen in pageantry since I was 14 years old. I can actually really remember that day. So we were in Philippines, back in my hometown with my mom, and we were watching Miss Universe. I think that time it was, I'm not sure the year, but it was the year that Pia won, Miss Universe Philippines won that year. And I remember that day being like, Mom, one day I'm gonna win. Yes, I'm gonna win one of the top 4 pageantry. I'm gonna represent Malaysia. And it was that determination. And my mom was my biggest supporter even throughout the pageantry. She kept calling me literally every day. So how was your training? What happened?
Yes.
And she was mainly my motivation, and I really wanted to make her proud. And it's always one that I always wanted to do, but never really had the courage to. So.
Right. I mean, especially because you're 19, it would have really taken a lot of courage, to join, because like you mentioned, there are a lot of ladies there who have a lot of experiences in life. They probably had, other experiences in other pageantry before.
Yes.
So you must have really took it a lot of courage
Yes,
to join.
it definitely did. But I'm so proud of where I've come and where I am now.
Right. Okay. I mean, since this is your first pageantry, do you have any other plans, perhaps, for future ones?
Well, definitely. I think the main takeaway that I had from pageantry is that there's so much more to learn, and there's so much impact that we, as even a candidate, can potentially bring to the people around us and to the audience. So definitely, I want to be a part of a change, a part of something good. And I believe that pageantry is one of the many ways that you can do it. So why not?
Yeah, definitely. And especially because with Miss World Malaysia, it's not only about being pretty and being able to portray yourself well, but also because it comes with the Beauty with a Purpose project.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you want to share with us what was your project?
So my Beauty with a Purpose project is mental health. I'm advocating for mental health, mainly in the areas of childhood mental health. Being someone who has lost a parental figure at an early age, I have dealt with childhood bereavement, which basically means when a child goes through a loss at a young age. When we talk about grief, we don't really know a proper way to address it, like especially when we have conversations with friends. When I was in high school and when someone had lost a father or a mom, we don't really know how to approach that person. All the best we could do is say my deepest condolences, I'm sorry for your loss. But I believe that showing love and care goes way beyond than just saying I'm sorry.
Definitely.
And there's really not, the stigma hasn't been broken. It's still such a taboo to talk about death.
Correct.
And I wanna change that. So that is actually, in short, my Beauty with Purpose.
Right. Yeah, and especially with children having this sort of trauma from young, it really does affect the way they grow up.
Yes.
How they become as adults.
Yes.
So I think this was a very, very good, very interesting topic, a very impactful one, I would say. When I was looking through her IG, I was like, childhood bereavement, that's something that I've never personally come across as well, because I did study psychology. And so when I was looking at this topic, I was like, this is a very, very good start, a very good impact.
I think personally I've attended therapy, and as I've mentioned a lot of times, especially what professional therapists would say is that childhood experiences really impact our adult life. And if we don't deal with our traumas well, we're just gonna bring it forward to our relationships, to our children's, and it's something that we have to deal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, and for your project as well, not only you are doing it through Miss World Malaysia, but also on your own personal content on IG. So if you don't know, Natalie is a very big advocate, right, for childhood bereavement, and she also posts on her personal IG account.
Yes.
Right. So how is it like creating awareness about this topic through your personal account or through social media?
Yeah, thanks for that question. That's very interesting. I've always been an advocate for mental health since I was in high school. It was through little acts like sharing posts on IG stories or making TikToks about it. And it was it took me a little courage there too, because I feared judgment from my peers, because I believe that sometimes mental health is not being taken seriously. And when we talk about it, people would be, even just little jokes that would affect people's mental state. People would take it like, why are you being so serious or whatnot? But the pandemic has definitely showed and amplify how important it is to take care of our mental state. And that's when I started, taking more action on it. And why not through social media when you can engage and interact to many people? I've even had people reaching out to me and, hey, which therapy do you attend and whatnot? And it's so surprising, and it just proves that and a little act of kindness can go a long way.
Yeah, definitely. And especially because mental health in the Asia country itself, though it's gaining a bit more attention than it used to, now itself it's still not as highly taken into consideration in many aspects. And so speaking of mental health and the whole advocate, do you have any plans to further your contribution or your cause outside of social media?
Yes, definitely. So I remember clearly when I was 18, I actually signed up for Befrienders Helpline as a volunteer, but I was not of due of age, so I got rejected. So that's actually one of the things that I want to do. I want to be a part of the helpline services. There's also actually short courses that you can take in therapy centers where they teach you on how to be of mental aid towards your friends. That's also something that I'm looking forward to in the future, as well as building a support group. I think sometimes people don't have the privilege of having their own pillars of support, and for it to be accessible to the public, I think that is such a great way for the people to access, and that's something that I'm looking forward to in the future. So that's a little of my project that I have in mind.
Right. And especially because it's important to come from yourself, the need, the want and the need for you to actually do something that you really fight for.
Yes.
Right. And so it always starts just from ourselves, small things that we do, that really make an impact. I always believe in the ripple effect.
Yes,
right?
the ripple effect.
Yeah, so it's like how it starts from you, and after it slowly graduates to somebody else next to you, and when they're able to affect other people, that's where the whole we slowly grow the nation from there.
Yes, right? I believe in that too. That's well said.
Yeah. Okay. So that's on mental health, and another thing that we wanted to talk about was your whole experience of adulting. You're 19, okay, and I'm 22, so we're actually like 3 years difference. But we're all adulting. We've all finished high school. We're moving on to what people call the real world. It is.
Yes.
Yeah. So how has it been? Like, I know you did mention that you have moved out.
Yes, I have officially moved out from my mom's care and venture out towards financial independence and whatnot, which is honestly terrifying and intimidating. The first 3 months of me moving out was so scared. Like, I track all of my expenses. I'm like, oh my god, am I able to pay bills this month?
I totally
Is it enough? Do I have to overtime and whatnot? But then it's just, I guess, the fear of stepping out of that comfort zone.
Right.
But after that, it became more of a perspective change again. Like, you see the things that matter to you. You see that I valued my mom more now. My god, thank you for washing the dishes,
cooking for me, cleaning the house. I don't have to do much of it, that kind of thing.
Yes, and so I posted like a video about moving out, and there's a lot of people that say, oh, that's so easy, but it seems easy. I mean, when I look at my sister and my siblings when they moved out, it seems easy, but to actually do it, it's very scary. But I'm proud that I'm able to actually take that step and do it. So adulting has been a journey, and it still is.
It will forever be a journey,
yes,
right?
And
because we don't become adults just like that.
Yeah. And I think I want to speak on that a little. I think it's very important to like teach kids in that area. Like, I didn't know what taxes is until I had to do it. I didn't know the importance of setting a budget. I think financial planning is such an important subject, that has to be taught, by parents and by school teachers as well. And it just proves that for me, we as human, especially in this society, we have so much more to learn in that, so much more to improve in our education system and how we parent and whatnot. But of course, it's a learning curve. And and I think the biggest thing that I learned was that even the people that you look up to the most have flaws, I think, and it's actually okay. So growing up, I used to look at my mom and dad as like superheroes, and they cannot do anything wrong. But as you grow up, you start showing them empathy, because you go through the struggles as well.
Yes. And they always say no parent is ever perfect.
Yes.
No one is ever perfect. So no matter how much we look up to someone, there is always parts of them which we may not want to be like, but we can learn. From that.
Yes. I think it's the acknowledgement that there's always more to improve, and with that growth mindset, I think it would bring a person so much further.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I mean, would you actually recommend? I mean, since you've gone through moving out and adulting on your own and working and stuff, so would you actually recommend someone your age or someone who's really young or in their young adults stage to follow your steps?
Personally, yes, but to a certain extent, do not do it out of impulse. Do not do it because you had an argument with your family. Plan it. I planned it since I was 17. I planned that. Why? Find a reason. Why do you actually want to move out? What's the purpose? Is it important to you? For me, the purpose was to grow. I'm a person who always seek personal development, and through that, I've actually grown a lot. I think that once you step out of your home, because you grew up in a certain way. You know, you're groomed to think a certain way, and you know, being so young, you don't question it.
Correct.
And once you're in your own space, in your own mental state where you're able to think openly, then you question certain things and you ask the important things, and you learn so much more for that. But definitely financial planning, that's one. And also keep in touch with your family. And you know, going out because of conflict is never a good thing to do.
Yes, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who just decide to move out because they have conflicts with their parents. And,
Yes.
you know, they want to just move out and just not to have any sort of arguments. And there are a lot of teens or people like at our age who have arguments with our parents because there are there are conflicts in the way we think, our perspective, and stuff like that. So there are people out there who really just move out on impulse and not think of the consequence, and then somehow they regret it.
Yes.
At the end.
I mean, in terms of moving out because of conflicts, there's two different things here. If you want to move out of impulse because of the fight you have, and you had a conflict and you want to move out, versus you want to draw a boundary, a healthy boundary, where, you know, we right now at this moment, I don't think we're healthy for each other. So, you know, move out and learn, take your own time to learn. I think sometimes we don't really have the privilege to grow at our own pace in household, because we have set certain expectations by siblings, by parents, that, oh, you know, at this age you're supposed to be what. Sometimes people move out to grow at their own pace.
Correct.
And I believe that's okay when it's communicated, when your expectations are communicated, that, hey, you know, I still love you, but I'm doing this because I think it's healthy for us. What do you think? I think that's a more proper way to address it.
And I think on the other spectrum, we also have, you know, some of us who are being so protected well by our family that there is no conflict per se. Everything is going well in the family, but because our parents have so much of control, so much of grip on us, that we cannot live independently. So I guess that
is another one. So shout out to my brother who's having his internship, because he grew up. So my mom is very protective. She's very loving to us, and you know, right, like the week after he was in his internship, it was like, how do I wash clothes? And I'm like, yes,
it's time for you to learn.
Yes. So yeah, that's a very good point. I totally agree with that. So again, back to the question is, what is your purpose, and are you stable enough to, you know, make that decision?
Yeah, I think that is very important. A very important note to take, which is to make sure that you have enough financials, right, when you want to move out, because it's really not easy. You have to pay for your bills, you have to pay for your rent, your transport, and so many other things that I didn't even mention. And if you're working, you know, you have to take into consideration your transport to your office, you know, your working hours, whether or not that place is safe for you and stuff, especially if you're living alone.
Oh yeah.
Right? And you're living alone?
Currently, I'm living with my colleague.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So I think that's really one thing that we have to take note of. So especially, you know, if you want to move out, you make sure that the place is safe.
Yeah, choosing a housemate.
Yeah, choosing a good and trustable housemate. Yeah, that's really important when you want to really move out and be an adult. Let's say, you know, like
adulting.
Independent adulting. It's not only adulting, it's independent adulting. Right. And also another thing that really caught my attention on your Instagram was you write music. Okay, guys, she has one of the best voices that I've heard. Like legit, I was just listening to her song in a car on the way here, and you know, I was telling Elton, who is our other MC, you know, her voice just with the guitar is like, it's enough. It's like you can really hear every perfectionism, every note that she sings and stuff like that. So how is songwriting for you? Like, why did you even start it?
First of all, I'm flattered. Thank you. I think the reason behind songwriting was to actually, you know, have a change in perspective. I was in a phase where I was so down and, you know, sad.
I mean, that's how best, like, very, very good songwriters come about, right?
That's how Taylor Swift writes good songs. Yeah, and I wanted to take such emotions and turn it into creativity. And I was procrastinating a lot. I'm like, should I put it on? Is it good? Is it not good enough? But I wanted to do something for myself. I felt like I was so drained with everything going on around me that I wanted to do something for myself. And that was such a huge leap because there were certain people who were saying that this could be improved or that could be improved. But I was like, you know what? I had the expectations that I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for anyone else.
At the end of the day, it's what I want to write, how I want to tell people my story, and not how you are gonna tell me what to do, right?
Yes. And then it started getting a little bit attention. I think it's funny how social media works. Like when you work so hard to get one thing done and you create a content and then it doesn't get much engagement. But this one is, I guess the saying goes, you do what you want, and if it provides value to others, then that's when the engagement comes in. And that's what happened to me. I did it because I want to do it, and I did it because I want to make something out of the experiences that I went through. And so I got my very first single on all streaming platforms.
Yes.
That was an amazing experience.
Right. So if you don't know, you can actually search up the song called "Looking Back." Am I right?
Yep.
Yes, "Looking Back" on Spotify.
Yeah, it's on all streaming platforms: YouTube, Spotify, everything, Apple Music.
Yes. So make sure that you check out her song "Looking Back" because I really love it because I love ballad songs and those slow and really sentimental ones. The ones where you listen to the music and the lyrics and be like, oh my gosh, that kind of thing. Yeah. So make sure you check that song out. And I heard that you have a new song coming out.
Yep, I am currently having a new single coming out called Ocean Breeze. So I'm still deciding whether I want to compile it and make it an album and make a few more songs or release it as a single. But it's coming out real soon. And here's a snippet of it.
Yes.
So it goes, our love is as deep as the ocean, light as breeze. Still you felt so suffocated, so I set you free. Yeah, that's
wow. I was so immersed in it, but yes, thank you so much for that snippet. So make sure to check out Ocean Breeze when it comes out really soon. Right? Whether it be an album, be a single, make sure you show your support for Natalie as well as Mic'd Up. Alright?
Yeah.
So that is pretty much it for this episode of Mic'd Up Podcast. We are, I think, approaching the end of 2021. So anything else you would like to share with our audiences?
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to hear this podcast. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Mic'd Up and Del, for having me. It was such an amazing experience.
Right, thank you so much. So yes, Happy New Year. If you're watching this, I'm sure it's already almost towards the end of the year. So thank you so much and see you at the next podcast, alright? Thank you so much, Natalie.
Alright, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cut.